Who began it? The bee began it when it alighted on a little blossom close to Ned's nose. But when it was all over and the occupants of the barnyard asked how it all started, no one could tell, and each blamed the other for their fright. Ned was a dog, and when he felt what he thought was the sharp claws of Dinah, the cat, he gave a long howl and jumped up. He dashed across the barnyard and ran into the Black Hen and her chicks. They thought he was mad, and Black Hen ran, followed by her chicks. They bumped into Madam Duck, and over she went on her back. "Mercy me!" she exclaimed as she got upon her feet. "Black Hen has gone mad, I do believe." And off she waddled as fast as a duck can. Old Goosey Gander was standing in the middle of the yard when Ned came running toward him, knocking him over as he went by. And before Goosey Gander could get upon his feet, Black Hen and her chicks came running by, and over went poor Goosey Gander the second time. He had just stood up and was stretching his neck to see what it was all about when Madam Duck came waddling by. She did not see Goosey Gander because she was looking ahead, and bump! She went into him, and over they both rolled. "What do you mean by getting in my way?" said Madam Duck, as soon as she was upon her feet. "Madam, you ran into me when I was standing perfectly still," replied Goosey Gander. "You must be mad, as well as Ned and the Black Hen." Madam Duck ran on without replying, and Goosey Gander ran also, for by this time Ned had run into Madam Pig and her little ones, and tipped over 3 of them, and Black Hen was running so fast she could not stop, so she rolled over the pigs, and Madam Duck and Goosey Gander tumbled into the mix-up. The pigs squealed, Madam Duck quacked, Goosey Gander hissed his wrath, the Black Hen and her chicks cackled and peeped, and Ned barked as he ran. Dinah, who had been peacefully sleeping in the barn doorway, jumped up and came out into the yard to see what had happened. She ran in front of Ned, whose eye was swollen by this time and paining him, and, thinking that Dinah was the cause of all of this, his troubles, he ran at her, showing his teeth. Now Dinah was not afraid of anything or anyone, and she promptly humped her back and spit out her wrath at Ned, striking him with her paw. This stopped the procession again, and over went Ned and Dinah and Goosey Gander, Madam Duck, Black Hen and her chicks, Madam Pig and her little ones. Red Rooster saw them rolling on the ground and heard the noise, and, thinking some sort of madness had struck the barnyard, he began to crow, and then he ran to a barrel and flew upon it. "Everybody is mad but me," he crowed, "and I suppose I will have to get matters straightened out, for no one else will be fit to." "What is the matter with you all?" he asked, as Ned and the others finally got on their feet and stood looking at each other with wrath in their eyes. "I wasn't to blame," said Dinah. "I was walking along when Ned came rushing at me, showing his teeth, and that is something I will not stand." "You scratched me when I was asleep," said Ned. "No, I didn't," replied Dinah. "I have been asleep in the barn all the morning." "I didn't start the trouble, I know that," said the Black Hen. "I was walking along with my children when Ned came running at us, howling and making a terrible noise, and he bumped us all over and did not even stop to see if we were hurt." "That was no excuse for you and your chicks bumping me over," said Madam Duck. "And you went right along without helping me to get up. No one can blame me for all this trouble, for I was walking along by myself and not bothering anyone." "Well, I know I did not start it," said Goosey Gander. "I never start anything, and there is not a more peaceful creature on this yard than I. I was standing in the barnyard looking about when along came Ned, acting like a mad creature, and knocked me over. Before I could get on my feet, along came Black Hen and her chicks cackling as though she were crazy and looking so, too, and they knocked me over again. I had just got up and was trying to see what was happening when along came Madam Duck, looking anywhere but where she was walking, and bump! She came against me. I am sure you all see plainly that I am not to blame for all of this trouble. Madam Pig, what have you to say? Asked the rooster. Did you start all this trouble? I don't think I did, replied Madam Pig. I was taking my family out for a walk when Ned ran at us, barking and looking quite fierce. I can assure you he tumbled 3 of my children over, and before I could help them up, Black Hen and her chicks and Madam Duck and Goosey Gander all tumbled together over my poor children. I don't see how I could possibly be held responsible for this affair. Still, I may be to blame. I should not like to be too positive. Well, I am not to blame, said Dinah, and if anyone thinks so, just let him speak up, and I will soon convince him he is wrong. Dinah looked around and showed her long claws, and if anyone had thought it, she never would have known, for Dinah's claws were very convincing evidence that she was not to blame. What is the matter with your eye, Ned? Asked the rooster. I thought Dinah scratched me, and that was what started the trouble, replied Ned. I cannot see a thing, and it hurts terribly. I was sleeping soundly right down by the garden when I was awakened in the rudest manner by something stingy in my eye, and I thought it was Dinah's claws. Dinah flew at him in a rage. Don't you dare say that again, she said. Now, Dinah, I didn't say it was you, said Ned, backing away from her. I only said I thought it was. Well, don't think it again, snapped Dinah. You all better go home and let the matter drop, said the rooster, who did not seem to be any nearer the truth than when he began to investigate the affair. If you are so wise, Mr. Rooster, said Dinah, I should think you would know who started it by looking in Ned's eye. Very likely a bee stung him. He says he was down by the garden. Perhaps it was a bee, said Ned, but it was very sharp, like Diana turned, and Ned did not say any more. He walked away, and all the animals followed him. The bee that caused the trouble knew nothing about the fuss it had made, and was buzzing about the garden, sipping honey from the flowers.